Good morning, everyone. I'm Jerry Keenan. Now please join me in welcoming the president of the New Jersey Alliance for Action. Let's hear it for Phil Beacham.
Thank you, Jerry. Good morning, everybody. Yesterday we were down in Camden. Joel, we were in a building owned by Rowan, an old bank building in the city of Camden, and the ceilings are very high. And Jerry, as you all know, has no problem talking. But when you hear Jerry's voice on a microphone in this gigantic ceiling building, it was like stereo. But thank you all for being here. Let me first thank our sponsors. You have listings of everything in your packet. This is really an exciting program. I know several years ago, many years ago actually, I was sent by my predecessor to a conference where a gentleman was talking about the future of communication, and he pulled out a plastic little box out of his pocket, and he said, you know, everything is going to be in here. And I kept thinking about it, and I said, what is this guy talking about? I don't get it. Well, you know what? That was the prototype for the cell phone, and he was absolutely right. And you think about your lives today and your kids' lives, and everything is in here in this little box that people communicate with. So I'm particularly pleased to first introduce Joel Bloom, Dr. Joel Bloom, the president of NJIT. He started his career, believe it or not, as an economist, and worked for Governor Kane in the Department of Education. And many of you know that Joel's professional career principally has been here in Newark at NJIT. He started here in 1990. He was the founding dean of the Albert Dormer Honors College, and he has been president of the institution since 2011. And a lot of the things that you see here all emanated from Joel's leadership and that of the board here, the Vision 2020 strategic plan that the board is implementing. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce the president of NJIT, Dr. Joel Bloom.
So what a team, led by Phil Beacham. Where's Jerry Keenan and The Voice? What are they going to do when, never mind. And where's Chris Hartman? Chris, of course, is one of the most valuable players on the team because he has an NJIT degree. Although, you know, Jerry, I did a little research, not really. So when you were down at Rowan, were they trying to take your degree away, or were they giving you another one? I'm just And of course, even though Phil started, he was a little wayward. He found a different state to do his undergraduate education in Connecticut. He came home to the great State University of Rutgers. So congratulations to the leadership of the Alliance, and seriously, all the Alliance has done for the state of New Jersey, particularly in helping higher ed. We would not have some of the facilities, not that one we had a bond privately for, but the redo of our Central King building, which is, if you've never been in a 1900s high school that the mayor started working in, it is just stunning. Life Science Engineering building, and I can go on. So the facilities here, we've added, and I must tell you that Phil Beacham was a trustee's chair emeritus, trustee emeritus now, but he led the Building and Grounds Committee for the trustees for about 9 years. So, and we didn't always get along, but just outstanding leadership. We had some debates about that building in particular. How are we going to borrow and pay off, you know, $120 million? Actually, we're getting ready to pay off an early part of that debt this year. So the university is doing well. We're almost 12,000 students coming this fall. We'll have the first, I'll save the comments about the mayor's honor scholars for when I get a chance to introduce him. 12,000 students, about 2011, we had 8,000 students. We have 10,000 applications for 1,400 freshman seats. The only reason we're not admitting more is we're literally are full. So we do need additional capacity. Phil, again, is talking about how can we help higher ed build more facilities. We're doing $170 million in research. There are now 3 R1 research universities in the state of New Jersey. We happen to be one of the 3. The other 2, as you can imagine, Rutgers and Princeton. What does that mean? That means when there's the opportunity for big grants, particularly at the federal level, they look to the R1 universities first, because they know we've already have a proven track record and the amount of research, the faculty we have here. We've hired 130 faculty in the last 7 years. When I became president in 2011, the board asked me, what's the first thing you must do? And I said, we must hire faculty. Great universities are only known by their great faculty. Obviously, the students are critically important. And leading some of our faculty, the dean of the Newark College of Engineering, Moshe Kam, who's just done an outstanding job. If you've never seen a real live working makerspace, it's 10,000 square feet operating today. It'll be 20,000 in about another month. That's led by an alum who some of you know because he's in your industry. He's an alum of NJIT, civil engineer, PE, and will our outstanding Andrew Christ also please identify himself. So he's vice president for everything that's brick, mortar, even grass, trees. It's a long title. And we're continuing to work here in the city to grow the campus. We're partnering with the city and doing some economic development along Martin Luther King Boulevard. It's about 20 acres, a $1.9 billion project for additional housing for graduate students, other facilities in partnership with St. Michael's. So Newark today is a city that is just on the move. And you'll hear more about that in a moment. But 5G, people walk around using 5G. Every now and then I stop somebody who uses it and I said, hey, I know 1G, 2G, 3, what's 5G? So what is 5? It's 5th generation, right? Wireless. So when you think about, for those of us who remember that little empty black box that we saw, which today, by the way, is the new cell tower. The new cell tower is about this big. If you've not seen it, Bell Labs is working on it. But now when you think about 5G, what is 5G going to give us? It is going to give you every device. Think back, you were in your house 5 years ago, and a couple people on a PC or a laptop, and somebody was using a cell phone, and everything slowed up in your house. At this campus, everything was slowing up for a while. So you go from 1G to, so it's speed, it helps you when things slow down, latency, and you can just hang a ton of devices on 5G networks. But I also will caution us because we're still talking about advanced 4G. So 5G is there. It'll probably still will be in this conversation, I don't know, 5, 10 years from now about how good 5G is. Probably be talking about 6G in about 4 or 5 years in between. So it takes a long time for this truly to become of value to every company. But every company today, as I get a chance to look around and meet with many of our alums who lead companies, they're technology companies. And we're so dependent upon the technology as fast as it is growing. So we're helping you. We have about 30 engineers in the state of New Jersey, and technologists and scientists are NJIT alums. We really are the largest engineering school now in the tri-state area. Our College of Computing Science, I won't say this too loudly because the Dean of Engineering is here. If at the rate they're growing, they may eclipse the, I'm only kidding, Moshe, eclipse the, computing science is just booming. So we think about what we're doing here. We think about we're doing it here in the largest and the best city in the state of New Jersey. There's 55,000 college student, staff, and faculty in this city. And the beauty of working in this city today is working with our mayor. He's a cheerleader, particularly for those who have yet to take advantage and have had the opportunity in this city to prosper as others of us have. So you can't have a conversation with the mayor without talking about all the citizens in the city of Newark. You can't have a conversation with our mayor without him challenging you. So we have a challenge now where we're going to double the enrollment here at NJIT. We're now a little over 300 undergraduates from the city of Newark to about 600 or more in the next 4 years. That's very important. This is not an easy school. Right, Chris? Where's Chris? Not an easy school to graduate from. You can't come here without some background in mathematics. Mathematics is the language of what we do here, and you must have that background. So we're working with the mayor. We've got, I've lost track of, probably about 100 students this summer in our pre-college programs, just getting ready to be enrolled here in the near future. So we're going to double the enrollment. The mayor constantly challenges us to work with, in partnership with business industry, bring more business industry. We're redoing, we have, at one time we had 90 incubator companies. These may be some of your students here, Mayor, walking outside if you look. I don't know, we'll have to figure out who they are. There's always little people. This time of the year, this campus is almost as busy as it is during the academic year. We'll have 4,000 pre-college students here. That's how we create that pipeline for the workforce. So the mayor challenges us to work with business and industry and partner with them. And you'll see the influx of tech companies coming into the city of Newark. You can't walk around the city without seeing what our students here play a little game. There's so much construction on this campus, so we have a lot of safety cones. So they now hide the cones. You have to look in the tops of buildings or in trees. One day I finished meeting with the student senate, telling them that this is going to continue for a couple more years. That morning I got to my office, there were 2 cones in front of my office door. So we don't play that game in the city yet, but a lot of construction here in the city, a lot of new business. In that building last year, we housed something called Metro Labs, mayors, college presidents from around the country that would have never come to Newark or know NJIT. Last year, we housed the Amazon Alexa conference. 2,700 people were in that building. This year, we're going to again do it in the end of July, and they're predicting 7,000 people just dealing with voice technology. And think about voice technology and 5G. Right now, if I'm keystroking at, I don't know, 50 words a minute. If I speak into technology, I'm talking at 140 words a minute. Think about the power of 5G and voice technology. So we're going to host that again with the mayor, and he's just an outstanding colleague, friend, and educator, politician, and author. I've gotten to read his works on and off over the years. You may ask him about some of his poetry. So Mayor Ras Baraka, please come up.
Thank you. I didn't know if he was going to keep going on and on, or just got to grab him for a minute. But Dr. Bloom is certainly a friend of mine. I'm honored to call him a friend. He's a colleague here in the city of Newark. NJIT is doing incredible things. He laid it out for you. We're just trying to get them to do more and more for our residents here in the city of Newark. And he's working at it. He's working at it, and he's excited about getting it done. As he said, we're increasing the enrollment of Newark students here. The work that they do for our summer program for the young people as well, he didn't mention that. The scholarships that they're giving that we're trying to get them to do more of. The 3 mayor scholars that come out of here. So NJIT is certainly a partner of ours in the city of Newark. and the Voice Conference. If you get an opportunity to come by, you should. I was there last year. It was awesome. It was incredible. The things that they were talking about blow your mind. Altogether, some stuff you couldn't even imagine thinking about doing, opportunities and access to technology that's almost unheard of, like you're watching the Jetsons or something. So it was incredible. And, you know, as he said, that compatible and put together with 5G would probably be amazing, what can actually happen, the possibilities of that. So I just want to thank you for being here in Newark this morning, being at NJIT, one of the premier engineering and technology universities in the country. Not just saying that because we're here and Dr. Bloom is here, but because it's facts. And matter of fact, I know students who came out of NJIT, and not just the ones that work for me. I just hired another NJIT student who was on the road with a sign, "Please hire me" job, and he was still a student. And said that doesn't speak to the university, because I know 3 kids who graduated from here who got job offers before they even crossed the stage. And they're somewhere working right now. 2 of them are in Michigan working. I believe the other's in DC. I've been trying to get them back to Newark since they graduated. We have to work on that, Dr. Bloom. These kids, get them to return to our city. You know, the conference today is important to us because mayors all over the country are trying to work to create these smart cities, to use technology in a way to make the things that we do more efficient, more effective, more expedient for our customers, which are the residents and the citizens of our communities, to make sure that they have access to data, opportunities to communicate with the city government to get things done faster, whether it's permitting, whether it's opportunities to interface with either department in the city, whether there's opportunities to get services done in their community, or just find out what's going on in the city, you know, period. Whether they can ride by NJPAC and automatically something pops up on their phone and tells them all of the events that are happening at NJPAC, just simply because they rode past the place, or ride past the museum and the same thing happens. They can find out what's happening at the museum, so parents aren't always saying, there's nothing for my child to do in the summertime. They could push a button and everything pops up in terms of what's happening in the city of Newark for the summertime for their kids, the date that is happening, the time that is happening, how to register and get them involved in it without leaving their home. These are opportunities that we think are reachable, that are accessible, that we can engage our residents right away. Give us a means, allows us to communicate with our residents without using NJ.com and the city's website and all of those things, which have a far reach, but not as far reaching as we want it to. So we are definitely thinking innovatively about some of those things. And the great thing about Newark is that we have our own fiber. We have an opportunity to do enormous and incredible things, imaginative and creative things with the fiber that we have underground here in the city of Newark, which we have not really completely capitalized off of yet. You know, prayerfully we'll get there, but it gives us the momentum, the head start even to do some things in the city that other places cannot even think or imagine doing. And I know the bright minds in here and the folks that are thinking about it can think of how to use that tool to be able to allow people the opportunity to do great things, not just in a commercial way, as we're using it now at the Haynes Building, at different developers' property who use it to give free Wi-Fi to their residents, but opportunities to bridge the digital divide, opportunities to give you know, access to technology to thousands of Newark residents who may not have that without the Newark fiber. In fact, we're thinking about having a relationship or working better with the Newark Housing Authority to provide access to all of the folks in the Newark Housing Authority with free Wi-Fi using the Newark fiber. So there's all kinds of things that we're thinking about trying to do, and we're talking about it every single day. And I know you guys, much smarter than I am, could get there, get us to the finish line as quicker than I can think of. So I want to thank you again this morning for being out here, all of the vendors, the practitioners, the engineers, and everybody that are here today, and even Dr. Bloom. We thank you for being here this morning and participating in this in a great and beautiful city of Newark. Have an incredible conversation this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Mayor Baraka. Thank you for joining us here today. Now, please join me in welcoming the Regional Vice President of Public Policy for Verizon Communications. Let's hear it for Tony Lewis. Tony Lewis.
Hey, thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Well, if I could be introduced like that every morning, I would jump out of bed, run to the gym, and get started. So thank you for that marvelous introduction. I want to thank the mayor for his remarks. I have an opportunity to look around the country and visit any number of cities, and Mayor Baraka is doing an outstanding job with his leadership on the issue. You know, all of you know much better than I do that these things only start when you have collaboration across the business community, across the nonprofit community, and with our government. So I'm so pleased to know that he took the time to come here today to speak to us directly with his views on what can happen in this magnificent city. Give him another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That is fantastic. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Tony Lewis. I am a region vice president for Verizon, new actually to New Jersey. I started this assignment in January, so I cover the region from New York to Virginia. But really happy to be here in New Jersey today to talk about something near and dear to my heart, technology number one, 5G number two, and that little company called Verizon number three. So all technology is comprehensive. We need everything in order to deliver the types of services that you, our customers, expect. And so it's not just about one type of technology, it's not just about 5G, it's how they build upon each other and how we integrate all of those services in order to supply the things that we'll need into the future. And so we're going to continue to do the kind of things we've done in the past. We have a robust fiber infrastructure. We have a robust copper infrastructure. We have a robust 3G and 4G network. All of those things will play as we now build our 5G network. And so we're really happy to have the opportunity to continue to serve the residents of this great state with all of those technologies. But as you heard Joel talk about, let's talk about what 5G really means. So some of you, this is a pretty young crowd, but some of you remember car phones. Thank you. I have someone, thank you. Where you drove your car into a bay, you left it for 3 days, they installed a phone and a box, the brains, in your car with a little pigtail out of the window, and you drove away happily paying $3,000 for that device and about $5 to $6 per minute. So you really didn't talk, you just held it to your head to show people that you had that device. Well, that was 1G. It's just voice. It's analog. It was pushing an analog signal from that device into the ground, copper wires back then, and off to wherever it needed to be. That was 1G. 2G, then you got fancy. You had essentially the first flip phone. And I know there are some people younger who would pay me thousands of dollars for a flip phone today because they were sleek, they fit way inside your pocket, and they had one simple task, and that was voice. But you could, if you had really tiny fingers, begin to text. But you had to use the keypad, so it took you a while to say, "Yes, honey, on my way home." But you could do it. 2G. Then things really changed. You got to 3G. This was around the BlackBerry time. So yes, you had this wonderful BlackBerry. I'm sure all of you used it. If you had a really good one, there were video capabilities. They were just really slow. So what you mostly did was download pictures, grainy, pretty ugly, and they scaled down your screen and you waited to see what the image was, and yeah, it's your kid again at the pool, but that's okay. That was 3G. When we got to 4G, things changed. So think back to 2007, the advent of the iPhone. Absolutely, fundamentally changed everything we did with the device because of its capabilities, but not so much of the phone, but the store. that device allowed you not only to create an economy, if you were a coder or had an idea, to drop it on this device, but to also collect the revenue and generate new opportunities. Revolutionary. Changed everything that you thought about a device and what it could do. And since then, we've continued to innovate. We, the industry, have continued to innovate with those types of devices. And so what happened? You use them more and more and more, and more applications came online, and all of a sudden, what used to be a device you used to get off the train at Newark Penn Station and call home became a library for the world, and also a device that you could now call a car to come get you. You could secure a bed in a stranger's home for the night. You could watch ESPN all day with your favorite team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It became a tool. We did not know when we built 4G what capabilities would exist. And so if you think about just those tools now, let's fast forward. 5G. It is not a step up. It is transformational. All of those other technologies worked basically the same way. We built towers, and the towers covered the area, and your device found a pipe on that tower, sent out data signals, and you can go back and forth. As you heard Joel say earlier, now those towers have become really tiny nodes, and we're going to put a lot of them around, because with 5G, you have almost zero latency. We'll talk about that in a second, but the capacity 100 times what you see with 4G today. And that's just capacity and latency. We'll talk about solutions in a second. When you have that capability, more importantly, when you unleash that capability, all of those smart people who said, oh, I can create an app that'll bring a car to you. I can create an app that will facilitate something like Airbnb. I can create an app for this healthcare thing. I can create a gaming app, are now saying, because we already have the labs open, when you have this level of capacity and you have no latency, here's what I can do. So you saw some of the things in that commercial. You've heard about remote surgery. Might be a little scary, but think about it for a second. When you think about the healthcare situation in this country, when you think about all of the doctors that today have to go find housing, another city issue, near the hospital in order to make sure they can facilitate their patients' care, and you think about what this type of technology could do, it's not so much the robot, if you're afraid of that. It is that the doctors and nurses and practitioners can now see you in 3D immediately and start to diagnose the problem. God forbid I fell out on this stage right now. It would be minutes before help would get here, unless you've got a technology that actually allows the cars on the street to all move to one side, so the ambulance has a clear path because everything is connected and it's an emergency. Or if there's a fire in this building and those brave first responders rush in, imagine if their mask allowed them to see into the building, in through the doors, and exactly where we were, through smoke and fire. Capable because the network is that advanced. I can go on and on. The use cases that we've already seen are amazing. I can't imagine what those really bright engineers that you heard about earlier today, that are in school now, graduating now, those people who are doing new careers and starting over, are thinking about what could we do to improve our towns and cities. One little pet peeve of mine: we all go to the DMV for one reason or another if we own cars. Complete waste of time. Why do I say that? Because your car is a rolling computer. When it goes into those service bays, it's plugged in. With an advanced network, the car's always connected. I'm happy to pay the city their money, just don't make me go stand in line. Little simple things like that are some of the things that become available to our cities, to our governments, when they start to think about the real capabilities of these services. You heard the mayor talk about connectivity and reaching those who need it most. Imagine the types of services that we could provide to the homeless population, to those returning citizens, to those who need it most, because people are out there thinking of the ideas. I'm so happy that we're in position to simply build the network, to find the right ways to do what we do best, continue to put in the level of infrastructure that allows all of these things to be built. So we've done a lot here. We have thought about ways to continue to improve this network. We are making the investment ourselves. We're not asking for a dime from any city, any town, any state. Our customers, you, I hope, allow us to go in and build this new infrastructure ahead of what can be thought of and designed so that it's ready. And so I applaud you. You're ahead of the game already, being here today to help us think about what happens when you have this level of technology and what we should be doing. So let me switch gears for just a quick moment and talk a little bit about what Verizon has done and will be doing. So we're really proud that we've been recognized as an investment hero. We continue to invest close to $17 billion per year around this country every year in order to build these networks. We've done about $1.5 billion here in the state of New Jersey. We've still got about 1,600 buildings around this great state, about 15,000 people here in this state. More importantly, 46,000 share owners here in this state. So we're really, really pleased to be a part of this. And I am committed to continue all of that. I am most proud of our foundation work here. Here in Newark, we have 3 Verizon Innovative Learning Schools. These are schools that, through a competition, won a grant from us. Every child receives a laptop. Every child receives personal instruction. The teachers receive personal instruction because we know that when you can catch these young people early, and these are middle schoolers, and show them what it means to be in STEM, they get excited. I have a chance to see many of them, and I know their minds are changed about opportunities in the future when you present them with these opportunities. So we'll continue that good work. I hope that you get a chance, those of you who are in the city, to go by one of those schools. You can see them online at Verizon Digital Promise. You can go to Yahoo, type in Verizon Digital Promise. You'll see those schools pop up. Please feel to do that while I'm speaking. Also, you can go to Yahoo and type in lets5g.com. You can get all the latest information on 5G. It's a Verizon-sponsored site, but it is a global site, so you can see what's going on there.